Well, good morning and welcome to the last video for 2023. It's a rainy day here in upstate New York. It could be snowing, I guess, right? We're going to look back on the year gone by, a little retrospective. I'm going to get a little breakfast, but first I just want to look at this abandoned railroad station here. If you were to read the description of my channel, you would read these words: I have a slight interest in history. And that's true. And so many of the videos will gravitate in that direction. But I will include a wide variety of things. And I'd like to think I've been doing that. It's what I want to do. So for instance, there have been history explorations where we explore battlefields and cemeteries and museums and other points of historical interest, like seeing the house where Moby Dick was written. And there have been some hopefully relaxing walks through interesting towns and some strolls down beautiful main streets. I do like to walk, and so I've tried to include some peaceful nature walks. I also like to look at art and appreciate art, and so I've tried to include some of that in our wanderings. And yes, I've tried to include some sports without overdoing it. One thing I've enjoyed is seeing a variety of sports. So, for instance, from basketball to hockey and baseball to lacrosse and freestyle, big air, snowboarding, softball, car racing, from women's professional golf to Little League World Series. What I'm saying is, I like variety. I like it in life, and I want it on my channel. And of course, don't forget about my favorite amusement park, Six Flags Great Escape. We have, as a family, a lot of great memories there, and I just can't help but include a healthy dose of that on my channel. In some of my videos, I have no idea what I'm going to see. I'm really just exploring, and a few times I've just chosen to get lost on purpose. And those are some of my favorite times of exploration. Of course, it's nice to know there's GPS if I get too lost. All right, I've ordered my breakfast and went with orange juice, and time to get down to business. I just want to do a countdown of my top 10 favorite moments of exploring this year. So, starting with number 10, I really enjoyed the 2 days we spent in Boston. We were honored to see someone who's very special to us graduate from Harvard Medical School. And then we just explored by land and by sea. And we didn't even mind those birds stealing my wife's bagel. And for the record, it was a poppy seed bagel. At number 9, it was the collection of 23 screen-used James Bond vehicles we saw at the Saratoga Auto Museum. That was actually the first video of 2023. Now I need your honest opinion. Do you think I ordered too much food? Coming in at number 8, I thoroughly enjoyed exploring Saratoga Battlefield and seeing things like the house Benedict Arnold stayed in, the spot where he was shot in the ankle and almost crushed to death by his horse, and more importantly, seeing Bremen's Redoubt, where American forces shocked the world and became now likely to actually win their independence. Number 7 is a tie. I couldn't decide between the Norman Rockwell Museum and the Clark Art Institute. I guess if I had to choose one over the other, maybe I would go with the Norman Rockwell Museum because it's home to one of the most important works of American art and a favorite of mine called Freedom of Speech. At number 6, I really enjoyed seeing that house where Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick, and even being able to look through the very panes of glass he gazed out of and looked at Mount Greylock from his desk. Now, entering the top 5, number 5 was my walk through a cemetery in Bennington, Vermont. A cemetery full of fascinating stories and full of American patriots. And also where you can find the grave of legendary poet Robert Frost. It also contains the very spot where Ethan Allen's house stood. If you like history, you may want to check that video out. It's called American Patriots in Bennington, Vermont. Well, I did get too much food, and I was able to get a box. I'll take some with me. A little snack for later. Well, I've driven to a little town called Half Moon, and there's a little park with a gazebo, some Christmas trees. Gonna take a look while we continue our countdown. At number 4, we go all the way back to January again for our explorations of Lake Placid, New York, where not one, but 2 Winter Olympics have been held. My wife and I loved watching the men's and women's big air finals of the World University Games. But as someone who has always been fascinated by the 1980 Miracle on Ice, it gave me chills to finally stand in that arena. And by the way, the men's hockey semifinal between the USA and Japan came down to sudden death overtime, and I won't spoil it, but go back and watch it. Speaking of thrilling moments in international sporting competitions, number 3 is the Little League World Series, World Championship game. Again, I guess I won't spoil this one either, but it was a thrilling finish, and I was glad to catch the moment on camera. Barely, but I did catch the moment on camera. It almost pains me to say that number 2 is my 2-day experience watching the Epson Tour. And I say that because I thought that it would end up as number 1. And I'll explain why something else finished ahead of it in a second. But nothing should diminish the fact that I so thoroughly enjoyed watching this women's professional golf tournament. And this would be true no matter how it finished. But the fact that I got to see Natasha Andrea Un and Jenny Bay battle it out for 5 sudden death playoff holes, that was certainly the icing on the cake. And I cannot stress enough how impressive these golfers were to watch in person. Now, at number 1, I have to go with our trip to New York City. My wife and I went there, and my favorite part of that trip, by far, was seeing the Radio City Rockettes. And they are easily some of the best dancers in the world, I would have to think. And what made this moment so special is that my wife has been saying we need to do this trip for years, and we finally did it. And it was very special. And for the record, Christmas in New York really is a wonderful atmosphere, just like they say it is. All right, that's going to do it for 2023. And let me just say that I deeply appreciate those of you who watch these videos. I want to just say a very heartfelt thank you. This would not be half the fun that it is without someone to share these explorations with. So thank you for watching and being a part of this channel. I believe this is going to be uploaded on Christmas Day, December 25th. So let me say Merry Christmas. And also, it's the last video of the year, so let me say Happy New Year. And we will see you in the next year. And that's it. Bye-bye.